Hello, welcome to this CoprHD tutorial series. In this episode, we'll be demonstrating how to use authentication providers with CoprHD. We will also show how to grant access and privileges to users. First, we log in to CoprHD using an administrator account. In this case, I'm going to be using the root account. Here we see the dashboard, which is the first thing you see, and it gives you an overview of the current state of things. This is a brand new installation of CoprHD, so it doesn't really have anything yet. Let's go over to the security section and select authentication providers. Now we can add a new authentication provider. We give it a name. We choose a type. We have two options, either Active Directory or LDAP. We give it a description. We enter the domain that you want to use with CoprHD. You may have multiple domains in your authentication provider, so you can add more than one if you wish. Next, we enter the URL for the server, the authentication provider server. And we enter the manager's distinguished name and password, because this is the account that CoprHD will use to talk to the authentication provider and log in and get the information it needs from the authentication provider. Next, we go to the search section. We select the scope. In this case, I want to use the subtree because I want it to go down each area recursively. So I'm just using coprhd.org for my search base, because that's the only thing I want to be searching for. And for the search filter, I'm just going to leave it the way it is, because that's the kind of behavior that I want. I want people to have to say their username at the domain. So something like ura@coprhd.org in order to log in. Once the authentication provider has been added, we can then attach it to a tenant so that it uses that authentication provider. I'm going to do it by a group. It's a pre-existing group on my authentication provider, and the name of that group is SANadmin. Now, everyone in the SANadmin group can log into CoprHD. Let's test it out. Let's log out and log back in using a user inside that group. In this case, we're using ura@coprhd.org, and we're going to log in. And we're going to notice that now ura@coprhd.org has the basic privileges. So he can be a basic user. He can see volumes, block snapshots, he can see export groups, file systems, etc., which are basically all the different resources that are available to him. He can also use the service catalog, which is how he would request any provisioning jobs. Now, let's log out, go back in as root, and give ura@coprhd.org some more privileges, so that, for example, he can be a tenant administrator. So we go into the tenant settings, look at the tenant, and then on the right side right here, we're going to see a button that says role assignments. And we create a new one. This time, we're selecting a type of user, because it's just one user that we want to give this role assignment to. We enter ura@coprhd.org, and we grant him all permissions. Now, ura@coprhd.org is a tenant admin. Now, ura@coprhd.org is a tenant admin. And when we log back in, we can see that there are more options on the left side sidebar. There are more things that he can do. Now, Ura can do stuff like create a project, for example, which he couldn't do before. But let's give him even more privileges. Let's log out, go back in as root, go into security, select VDC role assignments. This is where we can assign roles that encompass the whole data center, not just one tenant. So we go in, we select user, enter the username, ura@coprHD.org, and select the privileges that we want to grant him. We log out, we log back in as Ura, and now we see on the left hand we have all of the icons, just like when we logged in as root. Here in security, you'll see I can do even more stuff. Thank you very much. This concludes the demo for how to add authentication providers into CoprHD. Thank you.